The scales were in the drug room of my father's store. You notice the little measures, the marble top on top of the marble top on the, oh, I'm confused. The marble top on the scales. There's a mortar and a pestle, and in my tape I talked about making ointments for scabies, and it will be done with a bigger mortar and pestle. I wish I'd saved more of the things.
Now, is that where they would mix, he would mix the sulfur and the lard?
Yes, yes, in a large one, yes. And then we have the graduates, which are hand etched, and this should be used to measure liquid for a prescription. And this little portrayal of a clerk, a salesman coming to the druggist at the corner drugstore. You'll notice he's all dressed up, and that's the way I remember. We didn't wear black derbies. My father wore a white coat some of the time, and then in later years he did not.
Did he always wear a tie?
Oh yes, he was always dressed up. So they're among my treasures.
I'm going to zero in on the weights, which I'll just go right close to it.
There one or two are missing.
There's something in the
weights.
balance. Yeah.
Yes. At Christmas time, I put decorative bulbs on the scales.
And then the weights were kept in that drawer, you said?
Yes, the weights were kept in this drawer. There's all manner of things in now.
Now, what did the salesman, what would he sell your father?
Well, he would sell over-the-counter things such as you could buy, like aspirin and burn ointment. I remember that a lot of things were from the Norwich Drug Company and from the McKesson Drug Company, which was in Rochester. And then, of course, there was the cupboard that I was not allowed to touch because that had the restricted things in, the drugs that would be dangerous for people to use.
And the Lydia Pinkham, in case I can put that on there.
And Lydia Pinkham's, which was an over-the-counter preparation, was a tonic for women. And the theory was that if a lady took Lydia Pinkham's, she might have a baby a little more easily. They used to say a baby in every bottle.
Was there some man's tonic too?
Oh no.
No man's tonic. Nothing to make him stronger.
Laxatives and burn ointments and anything you buy in the drugstore today. I said, no, not anything you buy in the drugstore today because the whole picture has changed. But he had lots of merchandise. And also being in the country, he had things for farmers, like Bag Balm.
Bag Balm.
Bag Balm was an ointment used on cow's udders.
Okay, so he was a veterinary pharmacist as well.
Well, he carried some veterinary supplies. But Bag Balm is excellent. You can still buy it today for chapped hands.
Wow.
And I mentioned the confectionery part of the store, and of course cigarettes were sold, and he'd have game boards where people would come in and say, what's on the game board? And there'd be girls' names. And you'd peel off a girl's name, for instance, Helen, and it might say 25 cents under it, and that would be what the person would pay. But the winning was a box of candy, a way of merchandising game boards.
Did you have to pay to have this, or how did the game board work?
I don't know that. And he sold bicycle tires, and we had a firework display window, and that was magnificent because everything had to be used up. And so anything that was left over went to my grandmother's house, so we sat on the porch, and my father conducted a fireworks for us.
Wow.
Now we had ice cream afterward. Such nice small town memories.
We'll look at the scale in the other room. Your grandmother's glasses.
Hold it down. Can you, well, I don't know. Can you?
Oh, we're going close. So how did you use that? You just, for reading?
I don't think she used it much. In fact, I shouldn't have said it was my grandmother. She inherited it as she did this pier mirror from a friend in Elmira. As a teenager, we were dancing or something one night, a group of us, and we knocked it over and broke the pedestal apart. So my father took it out to an old barn. A few years later, my high school superintendent or principal, I'm speaking incorrectly, was with my dad out there, and He said, "What's that old table, Poppy?" And he said, "Oh, it's something my Phyllis did."
So that's the way they were when they were
That's the way,
father's
yes.
pharmacist.
Until Mother painted them
The
green.
green. A little change. Okay.
All right, I'd like to show you memorabilia from my father. It's what he received when he went to the 50th reunion of the Philadelphia College class. This would have been the class of 1911. I use it as a paperweight today, but it's precious
Has
to
his
me.
name on it?
Oscar S. Bradley.
Maybe if you hold it, maybe if I possibly, yes, whoops, it's out of focus now. There, Golden Graduate Award, I'm reading right off here, the Philadelphia, College of Pharmacy and Science, or Pharmacy and Science, Oscar, it's hard to see his name.
S. Bradley.
S. Bradley, okay.
Golden
Golden
anniversary
of
graduation. This is an apothecary jar. It's known as a thumbprint in the diamond shape. And it's very decorative and it's very precious. It was just, you know, they used to have bottles with colored liquid in a drugstore, sometimes in a display window, and this might have been used for that purpose. And this is an ointment jar, and I use it for whatever, usually for pieces of string.
Now, would he have mixed up his scabies, lard and sulfur and put in there?
He
Or?
might have had it already mixed ahead of time, or he might have had ointment for burns or whatever, because everything didn't always come out of a tube as we buy it today. Your druggist could take care of you. The people who come in the drugstore, they say, "Doc, I've got something in my eye, will you take it out?" Or he sort of acted like a paramedic, as I think back, with cuts and that kind of thing. In a small town, it's so different.
So he had the,
With cuts and that kind of thing. In a small town, it's so different.
so he had the ointments, so he could actually just apply them as well. And
Sure.
it was sort of the things you would do over the counter. We would
First
do.
aid kind of thing.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So those are all
I'll go in
precious memories.
closer on
And
the
I
items.
have, if you want to, you can't bring, I'll show you. If you come out in the other room, I'll show you something else I have. The bananas for banana splits.
Oh, this is the good part of the drugstore.
Confectionery
Yeah.
part of the store. We use a little metal holders for the ice cream. There was a paper that would slip inside it. There would be a slit in the metal container, and slip the paper in it, and then you put in your ice cream or whatever. I gave the milkshake machine, which is still working after all these years, to my grandson. And I have a spade, I'll get it.
Closer on this.
You know, if you get a quart of home-packed ice cream, you get much more than you do if you buy machine-packed. And Dad used to pack ice cream with this. And I use it today. It's an ice cream spade.
So could I?
And I put colored liquid in them once, and I'm so sorry because I can't get the stoppers out now. But the one on the left was what package of gum were kept in, packages of gum. But these would have been, yes, but there were rows on rows of these tinctures, and it says pulverized, I can't pronounce the word, tincture. Then that must be wine. I don't know, but they're important.
I'm going